what that means by now. It's time for all the toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me, that hopefully interests you guys out there. And a big week of news this week. Of course, a ton of wrestling news with the WCW stage. Power Town, oh yeah, Power Town. You guys know about that by now. Plus a bunch of other action figure things. Of course, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Got my Rancor Rancid shirt on. Of course, a big news week for Star Wars fans this week as well. And we're going to cover every single bit of it here in this very video. But we always kick off the toy news of the week with a little housekeeping. And let's kick it off with the MLC giveaway. The end of this video, stick around to the very end to see if you are the winner. One winner will be getting the $50 Nerdzoic store gift card, so check out the video at the very end here. Thanks to Earl and the admin team at MLC for giving a giveaway for my viewers here. Check that out and check out the MLC Facebook group. And like I said, at the very end of this video, you'll see a little video they sent me where they picked the winner. So stay tuned for that. And of course, Patreon, we're in a new month here. We got the May Patreon winner, or the April Patreon winner. Now we're going to announce the May Patreon giveaway, and it's an all-time favorite of mine. Who is the May giveaway? It's the Ultimate Edition of the Ultimate Warrior. So we're going to weigh the latest Ultimate Warrior Ultimate Edition as the Patreon giveaway for the followers of the channel over there. Your best way to support the channel, all the content as we usually say. So get a part of that giveaway. The ultimate giveaway, we'll say right there. So there we go. But now we got to turn our attention. We got to turn it to the WCW stage. And you know what Rob Halford says?
Step on the red, cross on the green, never take a ride in a stranger's machine, and always make sure you're burning on turbo power.
And Rob Halford, as usual, is exactly right, as we are truly burning on turbo power with this crowdfunding, as currently we're at 3,425 backers as I film this video here Friday afternoon. But you know what Jerry Reed always says? Exactly right. As of right now, we need about 1,500 more backers. Can we get it? It's going to be a nail biter. It's going to be down to the wire. And we've talked a lot about this stage in the last few weeks of the channel. I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments or send me a message, but do we need to do a recap video once the dust settles on this? What was good? What was bad? What was missed? What should have been given? Do we want to do a video on that? I don't know if we do, but I guess you guys can dictate that if you want to see a final verdict WCW Nitro stage video where we break it all down, at least my opinions of breaking it all down. We can do that, but we're getting closer and closer. A huge surge this week, as we all did see. Hulk Hogan posting about it on Instagram.
Mattel needs you to head over to MattelCreations.com and back the Ultimate Edition WCW Nitro stage.
YouTube ads. Of course, if you watched NXT this week, they had the old lower third. They talked about it on the commentary. There's been a lot of stuff going on. Steve Ozier and the Mattel team working the circuit in a lot of different interviews this week as well, supporting and promoting it. I do feel a little interesting. It almost feels a little bit too late. Obviously, as of right now, as I'm filming this, it's not over yet. We still got one more day to fund this thing. But it is just a little last second kind of, let's do this, let's do this. But what would have happened if Hulk Hogan would have put that message out at the beginning when he was the true 5,000 piece there that everybody was hoping for? Would that have changed anything? Could have NXT, could they have promoted that earlier? There was a lot of stuff there. And of course, we did talk about it when they first announced the crowdfund. They didn't show us all the accessories with the figures. There were still details that were left out. So that was a little bit of a missed opportunity. And one thing, and I don't know how to do it because I'm not a photographer. I'm not a professional photographer by any means. But the scale and the size and how big and massive this playset is and how cool this playset is, I don't know if the photography ever really captured that the way we all would hope it to, or definitely how Mattel would hope it to. So there's definitely learning, constant improvement. We talk about it all the time. There's definitely some good stuff and some bad stuff with any crowdfunder, and we could break all that down in another video if we need to. I don't know. You guys tell me there, but a long way to go and a short time to get there. I hope the stage is backed. As I always say with these crowdfunders, there's always a vocal aspect out there in the internet community where people are rooting against this thing. I get it. You don't want it, but do you need to post 1,000 times that, oh, this is never going to get backed. Oh, this has no hope. Like, what kind of energy does that send out there? Say it once and move on, but there's definitely a lot of people out there that post the same stuff over and over and over. I don't know. It's just a weird dynamic to me. I just never fully understand it. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. But fingers crossed the stage gets backed. It'll be interesting to see where things go. If it is backed, where do we go for the next round? If it's not backed, where do we go from there? You know, Mattel team's been pretty vocal, like saying, hey, we're a business. When we always say it, we put the business out there, a business at the end of the day. If this fails, really the consumer's telling them they don't want big things like this. You don't want stages. So if you think you're going to get the Raw or the Fist or any of that kind of stuff, it's probably not going to happen. And I've been saying it all along, if this does not work, let's go back to the roots. Let's go to like a barber shop. Let's go something a little bit smaller. Give us a few Ultimate Editions. Give us a little backdrop, a little set piece. I think that would be funded very easily. It'd be less hard on people's wallets because that was a big part of this one. The sticker shock at $400. When you break it down, though, I don't think $400 is expensive for what we're getting right here. Especially, I see what people spend their money on some other things, too. So, myself included. So, $400 wasn't as bad as I think people think it is for what you get out of it. But it always does come down to the old perceived value, as we do now. But that's WCW Stage. Much more on that on the channel in the future. We'll talk more about it if we need to. We'll see what happens. But now we turn our attention to a Power Town update, and I brought Jesse Ventura in.
You ever wonder if they're watching your every move? Cell phones, internet, surveillance. Think about it.
And always thanking Jesse Ventura's help out there with a lot of these videos here. Is, of course, Jesse, he's on the fringe of the conspiracy theories. He knows what's going on. He's guiding me through these things. But Power Town sounds like we're getting close. We're getting very close. Fingers crossed. They did send a message out this week saying they're waiting for all of their quantities to arrive before they start shipping. I would have said, hey, let's start shipping these things immediately. As each container goes, let's get them out, start shipping them. Next container, get them out, shipping them. But apparently they're going to wait for everything to come in, then start shipping. They said there was some delays and stuff. Yeah, we know all about the delays, but there's a lot of unanswered questions with Power Town. Where is that initial batch of figures? They said it was already on the water at the time, and they were going to reproduce these new figures. Did that really ever happen? I would love to know, and I don't know who will ever answer that question for us, but we'll see what happens in the future with that. But I am rooting for these. You guys know I'm probably one of the biggest champions of Power Town. I talk about them every single week. I keep them on the tip of my tongue because I want them to be my modern take on classic superstars, as I always say. So I'm hoping for the best here. I can't wait to get these in hand. This could be a game changer line for me and my collection. So very excited. Just a little bit of questions still remain. Where's the Remco announcement? Those were supposed to still on their website. It says January, like January 12th or January 1st, we're going to announce the Series 1 of the Remco line. We never did see that. So I don't know what's going on there. Be very interested to see where Series 2 of Power Town goes. I would have thought by now they would have already had, here's who's going to be in Series 2, pre-order to come, or pre-orders up already. We see that with all these retro companies. They do pre-order after pre-order after pre-order. We see it with Super 7. You got 4 waves of turtles waiting to ship for you. Things like that. Power Town not doing that. So it'll be very interesting dynamic. But like I said, I'm always rooting on Power Town. Just a lot of unanswered questions and a lot of fun to have with Power Town as well. So there you go. Power Town update this week. Another big update this week. The Headbangers did post on social media. It sounds like the Headbangers have signed a nostalgia agreement / Legends deal with the WWE. What does that mean? Well, they spelled that out in there. There's going to be merchandise, including action figures. So, Headbangers going to the Legends line. I'm here for that. That'll be a cool one. You guys know I love heavy metal. I love guys in kilts and skirts, too. And I love face paint. So, the Headbangers, they're chalking up the right tree right here with me. I'll pick up the Headbangers day 1. So, look for Headbanger figures probably in 2024, I would have to imagine. A little news that went under the radar. I don't know if everybody knew about this or not. Maybe I'm breaking some news for some of you guys. But Entertainment Earth accidentally put up a listing of the new Best of Ultimate Editions Series 2 from the WWE Mattel figures, of course. And this is going to upset a lot of people, a lot of collectors that are holding on to these for value. But it sounds like Series 2 is going to be a re-release of Stone Cold Steve Austin, the one with the real kind of shirt that you pull over like a real shirt. And then the other one, and one of the priciest Ultimate Editions, is getting re-released, it sounds like. And it is going to be the Ultimate Warrior, the original Ultimate Warrior from Series 1 Ultimate Edition. So, I don't know. A lot of people were upset about Bret Hart and Triple H getting re-released. Well, it seems like the Best of Ultimate Edition line is going to continue with very few differences. And as we always do say on the channel, it could be NECA, Hasbro, Mattel. If they're seeing aftermarket prices surge on something, they're seeing a demand for a former figure, guess what? They're going to re-release it because they want every dollar out of your wallet instead of somebody else. And that's what we're going to see here, apparently. with Ultimate Warrior and Stone Cold. So not officially released. Maybe Entertainment Earth jumped the gun. Not exactly sure. I guess we'll see, but stay tuned to that. We'll see if those go up for pre-order fairly soon. But if you missed out on those back in the day, you're going to get another shot. So it's going to make some people a little mad and some people really happy, and that's really collecting at the end of the day, I think, the way things are going. But we continue on. We get a little bit of Retro Corner. Still no good jingle for the Retro Corner of the week, but we do got some retro news this week. Epic Toys last week, they had there was a wrestling function overseas. A lot of wrestling personalities, a lot of photography, a lot of meet and greets, things like that. But Epic Toys was there, the former Cella Toys. Of course, Cella Toys was bought by Epic Toys, so there you go. But Epic Toys did show off Haku, the BWO, all three members there. We saw the Powers of Pain, both Demolition members, and then we did see Andre the Giant and Greg the Hammer Valentine as well. So all those figures were shown. All looked pretty good from the pictures I saw, but it's just one of those things. A lot of those, it feels like we've had on pre-order for well over a year now. When are we going to get those in hand? A lot of people are complaining, hey, I don't like people having my money for years at a time. I've been a champion of that for a long time. I want to pay right as I get my product. I don't want to have to do these long, lengthy pre-orders. I understand that is the way of the business, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. That's why when I do order Super 7, for example, I go through Big Bad Toy Store, I go through Entertainment Earth because I don't pay till it ships. Super 7, you know, you go through them, you have to pay immediately. They sit on your money for 12 to 14 months. I just don't like that. I'm just not a fan of that. I get why they do it. I understand it, and we're going to talk a little bit about that with Super 7 later in this very video as they finally cracked the code a little bit on this. And I think Super 7 is making some smart business decisions on pre-orders. Like I said, we'll talk about that here in a second. But hopefully those Epic Toy figures come, those retros get cranking out a little bit faster. We'll see what happens. More to come on that as well. We did see Hastel Toys this week coming out with the Godwins for pre-order. Those figures look really good. What I'm seeing from pictures from the Hastel Toys Grapplers and Gimmicks line, looking pretty good. I can't wait to get these in hand to see how they look. But once again, we need to get these in hand. Like a lot of these other toy companies, let's get them in hand. We've talked about them enough. There's so many pre-order after pre-order after pre-order. Just not a fan of so many pre-orders going out there without product in our hands. Because let's say we hate that Savio Vega. It just falls apart. It's hot garbage. People are going to be going, hey, I need to cancel Mabel. I need to cancel Ahmed. I need to cancel Godwin. So I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it could happen with any toy line there. That's why you got to prove your wear, prove your worth in everybody's hands, and then you move on from there. And you move on from there to bigger and better things, getting better every single time. So we'll see. I just don't know how many more pre-orders there are going to be before we get actual product. Hopefully not anymore. Hopefully that Godfather figure, Smoke Train figure, gets to us very soon, as that was the first one he did put out there for us to pre-order. So more to come on that. Been a lot of talk about KWK and Kamala. Where is Kamala? Well, more to come on the Kamala situation in the future. There's always a lot of stuff going on there. I know the KWK brand has had some stuff with the Haystacks Calhoun and things like that. There's nothing like that going on with Kamala from what I've been told as of right now, but there's going to be more to come. I don't know if the full story will ever get out there, but that is for the KWK company to tell if they want to, but much more to come on that line and some of the good things they got coming in the future. Once again, I'm excited to get some of this stuff in hand, see how it is, and that'll really dictate where we go with a lot of these different lines once we start getting stuff in hand. So more to come on that in the future as well. And that's the wrestling news for the week. Now we're going to turn our attention back to Super 7. I just kind of gave a little foreshadowing of that just a bit ago, but let's get into it right now. This week, Super 7 kind of came out of left field with a brand new Conan the Barbarian line. I thought that line was all but dead, and then they came back 6 months ago. What is time? Conan with Throne coming out. I thought, okay, that's just one last putting a button on it, finishing off that Conan line. But no, they came back with Subtoa, Valeria, Thulsa Doom, and another Conan this week for pre-order. Should be here about a year from now or so. But Super 7, I talked about, nobody likes people sitting on their money, but they've done this. They did it first with G.I. Joe. Now they're doing it here with Conan, but there's a weapons accessory pack. If you order from Super 7, you put up the funds with Super 7, not Entertainment Earth, not Big Bad Toy Store, none of those. You put the money up there, guess what? You're going to get this accessory pack as a special gift to you. I think that's a smart move to make some of that dollar traffic go straight directly to Super 7 instead of the other companies out there. But is it worth the pre-order wait, them sitting on your money for an accessory pack? That's what you got to ask yourself. But if you're a huge, huge fan of the property, you want every bit of the property, you want extra accessories, be it G.I. Joe or Conan, man, there you go. They're giving you something you might want right there. So thought that was a really cool business decision by Super 7. I always love the business aspect of things like this, and I do think that is a smart business move to try to funnel some of that traffic to Super 7 instead of the other big box retailers that are online. So we'll look at that in the future. And the last bit of Super 7 news this week, I got an email from Big Bad Toy Store. That's where I ordered my Simpsons series one from. And Mo and his apron is coming soon. So if you didn't get your Mo apron, it will be coming your way from the Big Bad Toy Stores, Entertainment Earth, places like that. If you're Super 7, I think they've already sent those out to the people that bought via Super 7. So more to come on that, but very cool to make that right. And Super 7's always been good. Mondo's always been good about things like that. If there's a breakage or something's missing, they do make it right in the end. It's unfortunate they couldn't make it right away, but at least they get to it. They make it right for the customers, and I think that is really cool, and that's what you got to do, customer service at the end of the day. Now a little bit of superpowers talk. As you guys know, let's say it was a year ago, we unboxed those McFarlane Superpower figures, the Walmart exclusive line, on the channel here, and I basically proclaimed them to be hot garbage, and I'm standing by that. I think it just doesn't fit what I want. It just didn't do anything for me. But this week was an interesting one where I might dial back in or I might dabble again. We'll see what happens, as McFarlane Toys did put up their version of the iconic Kenner Superpowers Batmobile. Gotta say, it's an iconic Batmobile for me. To me, this is more iconic than the Batman 89 Batmobile, if you can believe that. I love this as a kid. It harkens back to the cartoon, harkens back to the figure line I had when I was a little kid. So I like this. I really, really do like this. This might be one of those things you just put as a one-off on display. But then on Friday, McFarlane went one step further as they're coming out with the Detective Batman, much more stylized like the original Kenner Superpowers line that we knew and loved in the 80s. So I don't know if that's a change in direction for this line, if they listen to the feedback of the fans that wanted them more Super Friends-like. But this Batman looks really good, and it was interesting. This Batman didn't say Walmart, it said pre-order online at Amazon, McFarlane Toy Store. So I don't know if that line, I think we can all judge with our eyes that line probably didn't set Walmart on fire. You go to any Walmart, there's just stacks and stacks of those figures. So Walmart might have said, hey, we're done with this. They had this in the pipeline. Now it's going to go to other retailers. We're going to see where that ends up. But if you're a Batman fan, not a bad 1-2 punch. Get the Batmobile, get that Batman, call it good. I may do that for my own collection. I guess stay tuned for that. And then McFarlane came out with something I know absolutely nothing about, but boy, am I interested. It is their Page Puncher McFarlane multiverse line there, and it is kind of like a Conan version of Batman. And that's what it almost looks like. It looks like Conan the Barbarian, but Batman, Robin, Batgirl, and Mr. Freeze. Of course, Page Punchers come with the comics, so you get the whole story with these as well. But these really did pique my interest. I might play a little long game on these, but something about these really spoke to me. Not knowing anything about the characters, what they depict or anything, it's just cool looking figures, at least from the promo shots. So I may be dabbling. I may be dabbling in those as well. So call me the McFarlane Dabbler is what you could. Of course, this week on the channel, we did unbox Vampire Batman again. Gave it a second chance on the channel. I always like to give toys that break on the channel, I like to give them a second chance. And that's what I did. I spent my hard-earned money twice on this Batman. And this second one, thankfully, worked out for me. But if you saw the first video, you knew I was pretty upset. That thing broke with the gentlest of touch. I threw it across the room. I just had enough of that one. But happy to report the second go-around a little bit better if you saw that video there. We keep on with some more announcements this week, and we did see The Last Ronin. It sounds like we're getting more Last Ronin figures. Kind of been talked about, but nothing officially announced until this week. Came from a magazine, a toy magazine. I'm not sure what the magazine was, but we are getting Last Ronin Splinter. Of course, Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, 2 elite bots. So a little army builder action as well. So we're fleshing out that team. We're getting that done there in the Last Ronin line. A very good comic book saga. I read the first trade paperback. I'll have to dabble in some more, as it was worth my time. That's what I always say. Was it worth my time? And it was. Just got to find more time. And as we always say, time, what is it? What is time these days? But that is coming. And we're not done with TMT news. An interesting crossover, and I guess we shouldn't be surprised because Turtles have crossed over with wrestling. They've crossed over with Ghostbusters, Power Rangers, you name it. The Nickelodeon, who owns the Turtle brand, it seems like they're very receptive to crossovers. And let's take that business step back. They're very receptive to money in their wallet. So they're saying, hey, Ghostbusters come. You want to do a crossover? Pay me the money and you can do it. And I think that's what we're seeing here with Mattel, as it sounds like we're going to get a He-Man Turtle crossover. Very interesting. We'll see where this goes. Rumors are, and there's a lot to be discussed about when the time comes on these. But it sounds like they're going to be a He-Man Turtle crossover in the style of Origins. Is that possible? Will it be Origin style packaging, everything with a little turtle twist? Will we see He-Man with a shell on? I mean, I imagine these figures looking like the Origin style body, all in green. You get He-Man's kind of head going there on the body, but the shell on the back, things like that. I'm not sure how they're going to work this, but it's always interesting when you do these crossover type things. Mattel has done a good version of this in the Origins with the WWE crossover figures that we've seen in the past. So I imagine these will be fairly good as well. Once again, we'll have to wait and see once the production images and all that kind of stuff comes out, but it sounds like it's coming out in 2024. We also did see this week that the Masters Universe Origins is already starting up pre-orders with some of the big box retailers about Wave 15 and Wave 16 of the Masters Universe Origins line. These would be coming for 2024 release, and it looks like they're going to re-release an early version of Merman. It sounds like they're going to get into some of the re-release game, as we saw that back in the day with Masters Universe as well. They would re-release some figures every once in a while, especially some of the heavy hitters. You get down to the end, nothing against the Mechanics and of the world and things like that, and the web stores, but people want He-Man, they want Man-at-Arms, they want Merman, they want Beastman, so they got to get some of those figures back out there, and they're going to re-release Merman in Series 15, but they're also going to do a He-Man and Beastman, apparently, in the Filmation style. Now, there's a precedent back in the day where Super 7, of course, the Classics line, had their interpretation, then they did a side line of the Filmation style figures. Now, it looks like Origins is going to go down that same road, so that should be interesting to check out. Like I said, Beastman and He-Man in Series 15. Then Series 16, you're going to get Skeletor and Man-at-Arms in the Filmation style, and you're going to get a re-release of She-Ra. So that makes sense as well. So very interesting. Master Universe Origins sounds like the line is not dead. It's going on into 2024, and I especially believe it will go on through Eternia. I mean, Eternia is 6 to 8 months away. And speaking of Eternia, this week we did see a little Eternia action from MattelCreations.com. They did show up some pictures there of what's going on with Eternia. Thought that was very interesting. A little peek behind the curtain, I guess we'll call it. They showed Eternia being built, put together. They showed our old friend Moti as well. So a lot of cool stuff coming from Eternia, and they did say it's about 6 months away at this point. I would say 6 to 8 months. We'll see with shipping and all that kind of stuff, but very excited for some Eternia stuff to come. Very excited for all the He-Man stuff to come, really, at the end of the day. So very cool there. Now we're going to turn our attention. May the 4th be with you. Let's talk about some Star Wars reveals this week. All right, we're finishing up the toy news of the week with a little bit of this going on here with the Star Wars. Of course, May the 4th, always a big time. There was a Hasbro live stream on the 3rd to get us prepared for all the pre-orders. And of course, pre-order mania. If you're a Star Wars hardcore this week, it was a very expensive week. Somebody like me that dabbles in the Star Wars in this day and age, it was still an expensive week for me as well. But some cool stuff was shown off here. We did see, first off, we're going to start with the Book of Boba Fett, but it is the Mandalorian from the Book of Boba Fett. So the crossover event of a lifetime, as some may say. But the first thing that I noticed when I saw this, welcome back plastic packaging. Looks so good in the Star Wars figures. Very cool. What is old is new again, I guess we'll say there. But this Mandalorian looks really good. There's a lot of Mandalorian completionists out there, including myself. So I will be picking this one up. It's a very interesting look. I like the looks of the Mandalorian here. I love the soft goods cape. You guys know I'm a sucker for cape season. And we do get this with that Mandalorian. Now, we did see a little Gaming Greats action. Of course, that would be a GameStop exclusive here in the United States. But we saw Darth Malgus, one of the old school Sith guys back in the olden times. Of course, part of the Gaming Greats. But a very cool one. I've seen this character before in the old vintage collection style scale. A very cool figure and very hard to get in that scale still to this day. Now we're finally getting a Black Series one. Looks to be a deluxe one. He's a little bit bigger of a dude. I think that figure looks really, really good. I'm definitely picking that. Gonna use my $5 GameStop reward to save some money. You got to get a deal out there. Then we did see a little Black Series mainline figures. We saw Ahsoka Tano, of course, from the Clone Wars. A very early version of her. Padawan version early, I guess we'll call this one. And of course, there's going to be a lot of Ahsoka talk here in the next few months as her show on Disney Plus will be launching. We'll see how good that show is there. But we are getting her. She always sells well in figure form, as we have seen. We're also getting from the Clone Wars a Magna Guard, kind of like the Royal Senator's Guards, things like that, like a little bit of a robot type thing. But we've seen them before in the show. Now we're finally getting them in the Black Series in action figure form. I thought those looked pretty good for what they are. Now one that is a little bit topsy-turvy here, as usually things like this are announced Black Series, then they get the special Return of the Jedi, Empire Strikes Back carding, things like that. Well, this time it was the other way around, as we already unboxed this one on the channel on the Return of the Jedi card, but now we're getting in the traditional Black Series card. It is my boy, Wicket, Harry Bipedal Creature favorite #1. Wicket coming to the Black Series. If you missed out for whatever reason on the Return of the Jedi card, or you don't collect that card, if you're mint on card, whatever the reason is, you're getting a second chance. I like this because I say, hey, I don't need this Wicket. I already got one. It's the same exact figure. Play the long game. I can wait on that. No big deal. But Wicket stole a lot of hearts back then. Steals a lot of hearts right now, as we do know. We also saw a Phase 2 Clone Trooper. Everybody loves those Clone Troopers. Everybody loves army building. And this Clone Trooper is a little cooler, as you can actually take the mask off on this one. And you get the familiar clone face we're used to for so many years. But very, very cool. Got to think there's going to be a lot of army building on these. Should be a very, very hot one out there at retail. Then we saw from Return of the Jedi, just like Wicket, we got Chewbacca coming back at us. I still have yet to pick up this version of Chewbacca. I'll either get this one or I'll get the Return of the Jedi. I might wait for the Return of the Jedi one to go on clearance or on a deal somewhere. Probably jump in on that one because it will be cheap eventually. It always is, so I will probably pick that one up. But it's Chewie with those little chains going on. Leia can horse him around like a dog, walking him around a little bit. So very cool there. So that was some Black Series stuff. Then we saw some vintage collection. I don't really talk vintage collection here on the channel anymore. I've had to bail. It's so hard to say goodbye, as you guys know. You just can't collect everything. I bailed out on the vintage collection figures, but I thought this was really cool and worth a mention is the vintage style collection Ewoks line. Of course, the Ewoks back in the day. I was a kid who loved the Ewoks. Not everybody did, but you're getting Wicket and Kinesa. You get that little 2-pack there on the vintage style card. You even get the coins, the old school coins. Just very, very cool nod to the past here. I really like what they're doing there. I might pick that one up. I might pick that one up for like a desk display or something. We'll see what happens there, but I thought that was really cool. And that was basically most of the Star Wars stuff. We did see a Gaming Greats, General Grievous again, so we're going to get him back out. That's another pass. I already have a couple different versions. Don't need another one of this one. There was all kinds of role-playing items, all kinds of vintage collection items, a lot of different stuff this week from Star Wars, as you can only imagine. Of course, may the 4th be with you, as we said earlier. So if you're a Star Wars fan, it's a golden opportunity for you. There's pipeline reveals, a lot of stuff going on, and we'll see where it all goes. We'll see where everything goes, too. I guess I did forget to mention the Walmart exclusives. They did announce the whole Bad Batch line, except for Omega, who went over to Amazon as an exclusive, and then they had a Clone Trooper with the Walmart exclusives as well, like $27.99 a figure. Just very expensive figures, Star Wars Black Series right now. But I'm a sucker. I love a team, and I saw that new Bad Batch, saw them all standing there together. I'm like, you know what? I'll have Team 1, their first incarnation here. I'll have incarnation number 2 over here. So I was a sucker. I did pre-order all those from Walmart. Who knows? They may get canceled, but it was a very easy checkout process, so I was very happy about that. So hopefully you guys got what you wanted out of your Star Wars this week. I guess let me know in the comments what you picked up from Star Wars for the May the 4th Spectacular. Let me know in the comments down below. Now we're going to finish it off, of course, with Album of the Week. And Album of the Week this week, I had some road time and like old comfort food, like a pizza, like a nice pizza. Your favorite pizza, I put in one of my favorite live albums, if not my favorite live album of all time. Almost be worth doing a top 5 live albums of all time. But I don't think a lot of people are really coming to this channel for music stuff. I did the Metallica top 5. I had fun doing it, but I don't know if the majority of the audience really did. You can see by the views on the channel for that video. I enjoyed it. It doesn't really matter as long as I enjoyed it and had fun, I guess is all that matters. But I don't think a lot of people want this stuff. But I'm going to go this week, Album of the Week, UFO, Strangers in the Night, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, rock live album of all time. Man, oh man, UFO at the top of their game in Chicago, of course, home of UFO, really in the United States. Of course, they are from England. But UFO, one of the most underrated bands of all time. Most people in the heavy metal community know Dr. Doctor, at least, because that's the Iron Maiden intro song they play before every concert. But so many hits with Michael Schenker back in the day, Pete Way, Phil Mogg, go on and on. We could talk about UFO all day long, but I absolutely love UFO. So many good albums over the years, but a lot of people, myself included, probably say if you're going to check UFO out for the first time, check out Strangers in the Night, the live album. It's basically a greatest hits of their couple albums out of the 70s, but they got stuff all the way up to today that is really good. I'm still hoping they had rumors of a retirement tour that never really came to fruition, as Phil Mogg did have a heart attack, and you had COVID mixed and all that. I am hopeful they go one last spin around the globe, and I got to think they will play Chicago, kind of their home base in the U.S., and I will be at that show when it comes down. So there it is, Album of the Week, Strangers in the Night, UFO. So there it is. There's the toy news of the week. What toy news interested you? What are you excited for? Let me know in the comments down below. Of course, you made it this far. You might as well like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the old notification bell as we got videos every single day, and then some. The hardest working man on YouTube. Give me the old cape like a young James Brown. There's 3 videos, then some, every single day here on the channel, and even more content for you on the Patreon, including giveaways, Q&As, bonus content, exclusive videos. Got the t-shirt collection with my wife. Starting to put those videos up as a Patreon exclusive. I think I'm at like 14 videos is what I've got filmed so far of going through my entire t-shirt collection, if you can believe that. So look for that series over there on the old Patreon channel. And Patreon, of course, your best way to support the channel and all the content. Do appreciate all you Patreon members out there. And then, of course, Pro Wrestling Tees, another great place to support the channel. Pick up a t-shirt, and then don't forget to hit me up and follow along on social media. SirPaul64 on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. You know what I'm doing? I'm rocking and rolling, strutting and strolling my way into the weekend. See you guys all real soon.